here at Discovery Park in Sandwich in Kent, and we're talking about the Dover Clean Ferry project, which is all around how we would electrify ferries and change them from diesel to net zero energy. And I have here with me today Ramin Rassi, and Ramin, you're the project manager of this project. So what was the experience of doing the project like?
Yeah, hi Simon. So this project has been all amazing. I mean, we had a very short period of time for this project, but we used it the best way we could really. So the project was really about, as you just mentioned, how decarbonizing the channel crossing ferry operations would be possible, and knowing that one of the major ferry operators at the port is bringing in hybrid ferries, and they will rely on electric power supply from the shore side. We had to deal with lots of challenges over the course of the project. We tried to understand based on the duty cycle of ferries, of example ferries, and then generalize it for the other ferries operating at the port to see what the real demand is and what are the supply constraints, and from there to understand how we can really supply what is demanded. I can say that the project has been so far going really well, and it's ending soon with really good findings and insights. Really
good. You're from the business school at the University of Kent, so what's the business angle on the project? You know, explain a little bit about how you looked at the costings.
Yeah.
And that element.
So as you mentioned, I am coming from a business background, and we are from the Center for Logistics and Heuristic Optimization at Kent Business School. We are mainly focusing on optimization of logistics with a sustainability touch. This project clearly, and any other decarbonization projects that we can think of, have one technical engineering aspect to them, and all of that has to be translated into a viable business system for all the stakeholders involved. In this case, it was the Port of Dover and ferry operators who are going to, in a sense, buy the energy supply from the port. So we had to see how this whole picture looks for all these stakeholders, what are the costs incurred, and what capital investments commitment is required, what sort of operating costs we are looking at, and how all of that will translate into the cost for each kilowatt hour supplied at the port. So we took an optimization perspective on this, and using the outputs from other partners, we tried to optimize and minimize the overall cost at which the port can provide the energy required.
So between 1 and 10, what's the scale of the challenge? 1 being no challenge, 10 being a real challenge. What's your thought on the scale of the challenge from 1 to 10?
So if you are asking about the delivery of the project, I'd say the challenge was somewhere around 4 or 5.
Right.
It was really a smooth project with really brilliant partners. The consortium was brilliant, and we had the right partners for the right project, really. In terms of the project actualization of electrification of ferries itself, I'd say the challenge would be on something around 9.
9? Yeah.
So supply is a big issue. Demand is so high, as we know, and getting there in near future is almost not really possible with the current infrastructure is existing at the port. But we identified that with a phased transition, everything would be possible, and in short term, and the next follow-on project, hopefully, the port will be enabled to at least provide cold ironing for all the ferries operating at the port.
And if you had the UK Department of Transport here today, what would you say to them? What would you ask them?
So it's at the end of the day, and as was raised in the discussions today, which was really different angles from different people who are in a way a stakeholder of all of this, it was raised that policy has a very important role to play. This chicken and egg situation, should the infrastructure be there first, or should the demand be created first? And if it is the infrastructure first, is it just port responsibility to supply all of that, or a state should back that really? So I think the state and Department for Transport definitely plays a very significant role here. Regulations and all that are an important part, facilitating and accelerating all these new and innovative systems require regulation in the background to be developed hand in hand with the technology really. So I tell the DFT that they need to come with all the support that they are showing in the land side of transportation, in the maritime sector.
Good. Well done. It's been a good project, and we look forward to the next stage.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I've got Peter Selway here today from Schneider Electric. So Peter, this was your first project, Innovate UK project, wasn't it? The first collaborative project.
It was.
What was that experience like?
Yeah, well, it was quite a steep learning curve for us, because we're generally quite a commercial organisation and we haven't been involved in many of these projects before. But yeah, really good, interesting experience, and I think it's been a really successful project. I'm really pleased with some of the outcomes.
Good. A little about the role of Schneider Electric in the project. What role did you play, and how did you relate to the other members of the collaboration?
Yeah, so I feel we're pretty much the middlemen. So WFMG did a fantastic job at understanding what the power requirements of the vessels was going to be. We worked with the Port of Dover, who work with the local D&O, the local power provider, to understand what power would be available from the grid. And it was our job to try and marry the two up to understand, because we knew there wasn't going to be easily enough power from the grid, to understand exactly how the power grid on the port itself might deal with those power demands, and how things like energy storage and renewables could play a part with that. And the final element, because the demand from the vessels was so peaky, is how, by levelling out that demand by energy storage, could help level that demand and reduce the power requirements from the grid.
So we're trying to mix that balance, that complex balance of power and supply. We've got infrastructure that's got lower capacity than we would like. The demand, did the level of demand surprise you from the ferries? Was it higher than you thought?
From a shore power perspective, no, because that's, that was fairly standard. That 1.5 to 2.5 MVA is fairly standard for vessels of that kind of size. What did surprise us was the power requirement for the hybrid vessels, to really use them properly as a hybrid vessel, to recharge their battery storage systems on board, ready for the next sailing. Those power demands are huge, absolutely huge.
They're huge. And we've currently, I believe there are 12 vessels or ferries operating out of Dover. We've got 2 hybrids on the way. So we're looking potentially at something, I understand, like a 20-fold increase in the demand for electricity, if not more.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you just look at the basics, the Port of Dover power demand at the moment is around about 1 MVA. In the summer, just the shore power requirement is around about 2.5 MVA per vessel, and the hybrid vessels will need up to 18 MVA. So really vast amounts of power. Okay.
And you're an international business. You're a French business.
We are.
Are you doing similar things in other parts of the world? Or?
Yes, so we've installed over 140 shore power systems all around the world in various different sizes and scale. One of the challenges we have in the UK is that most ports in the UK are either privately held or trust ports. The model very much elsewhere in the world is that ports are publicly owned, and it makes investment decisions a lot easier. And again, so trying to get the UK government to fund shore power in the UK is a real challenge, because historically the UK government doesn't fund private enterprises, even though the benefits from shore power are considerable.
Okay, so we've got to work out that political assignations as well in the UK, make sure that what we're doing in France is compatible with what we're doing in the UK. And would you like to help that? Is your vision to go further with this project?
It absolutely is, and I think already the Department of Transport have launched a consultation on shore power and the different mechanisms for how we can make shore power work in the UK when we don't have that traditional model of ports being publicly owned in the UK.
Okay. And any difficult aspects of the project? Any bits that you think, no, that didn't really work as it should?
The biggest challenge for us was absolutely the fact that we needed people like WMG that did an amazing job, but it was so complex, it's taken them obviously quite a while to do all that work, and until they've done their element, we couldn't do our element. Yeah. So that was one of the biggest challenges, and also we needed information from the DNO about what power would be available from the grid before we can look at the other side of the picture to understand and how we can marry those two elements up.
Okay, excellent. Good. Well, thank you very much for your support, and I know we all look forward to working with you again. Thank you, Peter.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Talking to Mehmet from WMG at the University of Warwick, and we're talking about a project to see how and understand how we can electrify the Dover Calais, Dover Dunkirk ferries, and the role that the university has played in developing a model so that we can better simulate, understand and forecast the demand for energy from the ferries. So Mehmet, over to you.
Thank you, Simon.
And your role in the University of Warwick is?
I'm at WMG, Warwick Manufacturing Group of University of Warwick. I'm working as a project engineer there and specialised in modelling and simulation of system modelling, system simulation.
So systems modelling. So what role have you played in the project?
We have extracted data provided by P&O, the ferry operator, and the Port of Dover, and use those in our multi-input, multi-output energy model to provide some answers about what would be the power demand, energy requirements and emission benefits once ferries are started to hybridize and electrified.
So you've structured a model to look at the demand from the ferries in different times of year, different times of day, that kind of thing?
Yes, exactly, Simon. We we get the actual timetable from Port of Dover, and we just look at what would happen if we run a winter timetable with on a busy day, a winter timetable and average traffic and minimum traffic. So, and we did this for summer as well.
Okay.
And it gives us a broad idea about what is expecting, what should the port expect.
So if we look at the current scenario in electrical demand, we're not charging any ferries at the moment. We're using the electricity to run the port operations, the traffic light systems and very basic energy systems. If we went to a fully hybrid operation, how much more energy would we need? Do you have an idea? Is it twice the energy, or what? Do you have a sense of how much more energy do we need? What's the gap?
We would wish it would be just twice the power requirements would be enough, but it's around right now it's around 1.5 megawatts.
Right.
We can easily end up with 45 megawatts.
45 megawatts.
For 12 hybrid ferries.
So up to 20 times the amount of energy in terms of demand. And that demand's not even, is it? It depends on activity.
There is a lot of peaks and troughs. Once we look at the demand, it actually provides us an opportunity to level that.
Level the demand. Look at how we might even that out over the day and the year. And
yes, exactly. Okay. With the help of energy storage system, or maybe simply just shifting the ferry timetable a little bit.
So becoming more evening out that demand. What were the difficult parts of the project? What was the real challenge for you?
I think it was the first marine project I get involved in that level,
right.
Because since Port of Dover is the unique port of the UK, so that's why to understand what is actually going on and what will actually go on the new hybrid ferries was a total challenge. Once we gathered that information with the our partners, then everything starts running smoothly and start to be more exciting.
Excellent. More work to do?
Or to do, yes.
Good. Okay. Well, it's really good to talk to you. Thanks for your time.
Really good to talk to you too,
Yeah,
Simon.
I hope you've enjoyed the project.
Yes,
Good.
I do. I hope you enjoyed the project too.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you, Mehmet. Thank you. So I've got Megan with me today from the Port of Dover. So Megan, what was your involvement in the project?
So I did a lot of the coordination from the Port of Dover's point of view, helped supply all the data and produce some of the pieces of work in Work Package 4, as well as supporting Ramin with all of the project management stuff and the reporting and presentations.
And how was working with other people outside of the port? How did you get on with them?
It was really interesting actually to work with different people, different perspectives and different points of view, as well as different areas of expertise. I'm not got the technical and engineering knowledge of some of the people that we worked with, so it's really, really interesting to learn more about that and to get there.
So you've learnt more in the last... It's been a 6-month project, hasn't
Yeah.
it? So in the 6 months, your level of learning has gone up 50%?
Oh, drastically.
Drastically.
I obviously understood all the concepts we're talking about, but some of the more technical knowledge has been is really new and really interesting to me. So I've learned lots and lots
Good.
from this project.
And what are you going to do next with that learning? What would you like to be doing in 2 years' time?
I think it'd be nice to we can apply all this knowledge and all of the work we've done towards the next application for a demonstrator project, and hopefully in 2 years' time we'll be in the middle of working through that demonstrator project to really get some sort of implementation of all of these things we've talked about: the shore power, the pump and storage, energy storage systems. I think we're at the right time to do this now, and it'd be really great for the port to implement some of this learning from the feasibility study.
So the port has an environmental responsibility, and you look at that environmental responsibility from the point of view of carbon and air quality.
Yes.
What's been going on generally in terms of the environmental performance for the port over the last 5 years?
So the port was certified to ISO 14001 in 2007, and as part of that we had a target to reduce our carbon footprint by 5% every year. So since 2007 we've been recording all of our Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions and some Scope 3, and tracking that reduction. We've managed about 85% of our own emissions so far.
Excellent.
A reduction since 2007. On air quality, in 2019 and 2020 we worked on a port air quality strategy that was published, and that will be reviewed every 3 years. It's got some targets in there that this project helps work towards completing a few of those targets. So I've been really working a lot on carbon footprinting and air quality, as well as all the other parts of the environmental picture.
So you're understanding the whole environmental picture for the port and how you do that. And what about renewables? What's your feeling about renewables? Are they worth it?
I definitely think they're worth it. I think it will increase our resilience as well, to have lots of different types of renewables. The sun's not always shining, the wind might not always be blowing, so I think a mix of renewables is really a sensible way to go, just from a resilience point of view, as well as from a net zero and future-proofing point of view as well.
Any difficult aspects of the project you thought, oh dear, that was a bad day? Did you have bad days?
Not really, no. I found it really interesting, and I thought we did some really good work, especially in such a short period of time. I think that was a challenge, probably, more than a bad day.
Yeah.
It was difficult to get hands-on data maybe to the timescales we wanted, and to really get all of the right people in the right rooms and get all the conversations done in such a short time was a challenge, but it made it all feel really worth it now at the end, and we've come up with some really good...
So you definitely do it again? Or you do more of it? That's the important thing.
Really excited, hopefully, for the possibility of a demonstrator and other projects.
Yeah, okay. And have you talked to your French colleagues about this, or is that something you'd be interested in doing?
We began those discussions,
Excellent.
I think, between the ports, both Calais and Dunkirk.
Yeah.
And I think it's something we definitely need to look into in even more detail in the demonstrator, because a together approach is absolutely necessary for this. We've all got to work together, and I think that needs to be a real core part of any next projects or any future projects we do surrounding this topic.
Okay, excellent. Well, lovely to talk to you, and I know you've enjoyed working the project and with everybody else. And here's to the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you very much.